Good morning, everyone. So we are starting the fourth quarter and we're looking at coding with Python. A couple tips. If you did not do quarter three, the links at the top here go to the quarter three assignments. Personally, I think I might skip quarter three and dive into quarter four, get that done, and then go to quarter three if you need some points to be made up so you can get that passing grade. Quarter four is all about using Python. We're using an application called Code HS. Really easy to use and it breaks down everything into very small chunks. And so it's pretty easy to understand. You should be very successful with this. If you watch the videos and do the little activities, there's no reason why you should not be getting an A this quarter. Okay, so you can access Code High School by clicking on this link. If you need a class code, there it is. So if we take a look, the part one, which is the next 4 or 5 weeks, it's worth 1,500 points, and it is the learning of Python. So learning how to code in Python, learning how Python works, how to make functions, loops, all that other good stuff. And then the second part, which I'm still putting together right now, you will be doing Python projects, which means you have to take everything you learned in the first weeks and apply it to making projects. So half your quarter points come from learning how to make Python. The other half come from applying what you learned to 3 projects. Okay, and that's a total of 3,100 points for the whole quarter. Every quarter is worth the same amount of points. So if you get done with fourth quarter and you're like, oh man, I'm only like 200 points away from getting my passing grade, that's where you go back to quarter three, see what assignments you can do to get that passing grade. Okay. All the weeks have been put on the home page. It tells you about what you need to do. There's activities, there's writing responses, there's coding, there's activities. And then at the end of every unit, there is a quiz on Canvas. Okay, so you always got to come back to Canvas to take that unit quiz. This is a quiz I made, and it's based on the video that you learned in each unit. On week 11, you can see there's 5 videos and quizzes. On week 12, there's 4 video and quizzes. Week 13, there's 3 videos and quizzes. And then on week 14, there's 1 unit, unit 16, and then there is the final test is 218. Is unit 2.18. Now these numbers, 2.18, if you have a question on an assignment, that is the number you want to send me. That way I can find the assignment, quickly get you an answer instead of trying to figure out what your assignment is that you did or that you're having a question on. How am I grading stuff? I am going to Code High School and I'm looking at your work, and I'll show you that in a minute. And I'm grading from there. Okay, so there's nothing you need to turn into Canvas. Your grades are kept on Canvas, but I'm putting those grades in. You do not need to submit anything. The video quizzes that I created, they're in a Google form. You'll use those. And again, they're here on Canvas. They're not in Code High School. And you will just take the quiz. Again, nothing to submit to me. I will look on the results and put your grade in from there. You have 3 final projects, and these 3 projects are going to be similar in the way you submit them in creating a video and explaining to me your code. You're not just giving me a screenshot of code. You're not just giving me a link to a project and say, here it is, it's done. You're explaining the code to me. but just know it's very similar to what we did with the Finch robots. Just know you're making a video, and it doesn't have to be a fancy video. I just want to see you explaining the code so I know you understand what's going on. I understand you know what errors you might have made, what things you had to try, what was your successes, what were your failures, what went right, what went wrong, those kind of things. Okay, so that is what you're going to be turning in for those three projects. We have S2, Semester 2, Python Coding, Part 1. And learning about Python coding, Quarter 4, that's the page I just read to you. And then when you get to these items, if you as you go down the list, it shows you what is required in Code High School. So on the welcome week, there's a video you watch, there's a free response, that's a writing assignment, and then there is a quiz. That's it. Okay, again, nothing you're turning in on here, it's just a summary of what your assignment is. And week 1 is a little bit different because it's just a welcome week. There isn't a whole lot of coding in there, but there's some slides for you to review. You don't need to submit anything. Ms. Clark will review and record your grade, and you must complete all the items below, which is again those things that we looked at, the welcome video, the free response, the quiz. You complete all three of these successfully, then you have your 100% grade in that category. Okay? When we get to Unit 2, that's Unit 1. Unit 1 is just say, hey, this is what you're doing. It's a welcome. Okay? It's an easy one. Unit 2 is where you start getting into Python. Okay? And we are going to cover all the units from 2.1 to 2.18. Okay, so there's 18 units for you to do. Okay, and here you can see a list of all the assignments on this page, or all the different, if you want to call them chapters, all the different 18 chapters you will do. I know the first two are pretty easy. Carl is who we're coding, and you'll find out about Carl when you start doing the assignments. He can't turn right. Well, they show you how to make him turn right. Then we get into functions. Decomposition, that's something we've already talked about. Okay. Comments in your code, again, something we already talked about. Abstractions, that 2.7, that starts getting a little deep. Super Carl, what makes Carl and Super Carl different? And then after that, we get into loops, if statements, if else statements, while loops, control structures, debugging, algorithms, and ultra Carl. And then at the end, we're skipping 217. That's why I drew a line through it. And then 218 is the final quiz exam for this quarter. So as you can see at the very beginning, if you're kind of comfortable with coding, these are going to be really easy. If you've never done coding before, you can get through these. They break them down very simple, okay? But don't take for granted how easy lessons 1, 2, and 3 are and think, oh, this is just going to be an easy quarter and I'll wait till the last day of the quarter to do it. Don't do that. Because as you can see, a lot of this stuff, especially down here by 2.9, 2.13, all through these assignments or chapters, things are going to get pretty scary, pretty hairy. You're going to have to be paying attention for your code to work.